it isn't just the numbers. I mean, the numbers, that's the table stakes.
Right.
Like you can't not be hitting your numbers. So that's the table stakes. But I think what's even more important is that desire to help everybody else on the team achieve, right? And whether that's through setting up group events or coming up with ideas for spiffs or for contests, and or like really getting people motivated and kind of being that person that helps drive people at the end of the quarter. All of those things are so important.
I'm OG, y'all new to the game.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Morgan J. Ingram here, host of the SDR Chronicles, bringing you knowledge, tactics, and insights for your SDR journey, your sales journey, also for your entrepreneurial journey. As I believe that sales development is the mantra and vocal point for your career and also for your life because we use it every single day. And so today I have Amyra, VP of Sales and Strategic Partnerships at Criteria Corp, and super excited to have her here today because this is one of the reasons that you all heard me. I posted on LinkedIn about, hey, I wanted more executives and VPs on the show. And this topic directly correlates to that, which is how do I become an executive as you're an SDR? Like, what are the things you need to be thinking about? So Amyra is going to touch on a lot of topics and questions today on how you need to do that and how you need to think about that in your SDR role, even if you're in an AE role as well. But I want to take a moment and say, hey, tell us more about yourself and then why you're excited about the topic today.
Well, I'm really excited to be talking to you today, Morgan. So my name is Amyra Rand. Like Morgan mentioned, I'm the VP of Sales and Strategic Partnerships here at Criteria. We do pre-employment assessment testing. So actually, when we're looking for people with potential, that's exactly what our assessments do. But I'm really going to be speaking about my own personal experience, not only kind of the trajectory from the time that I started as a sales rep and cold calling all the way to the point where now I'm a VP of Sales. I've been in sales actually since it was actually my first real job out of college. Prior to that, I was bartending and working as a teller in a bank.
Yeah.
And so it was my first real solid job was I got a phone book and we just started dialing. So I've been in sales for a really long time, and I've been in sales leadership for over 15 years now. So hopefully I've interviewed a lot of people. I've hopefully promoted a lot of people along the way.
Right.
So hopefully I'll be able to give some insights in terms of what I look for in our next generation of leaders.
Absolutely. And so before we dive into it, because this actually will go into the questions later, is you mentioned, hey, you got your start, you were doing some different stuff like teller, waitress. So how did you actually get into sales? Did you fall into it where you're just like, I'm done with this, I want to make more money, I want to go in sales? Like, what was the thought process there?
Yeah, I think so many of us, I mean, I don't know. I was actually sitting on a panel of women. It was with Lori Richardson,
Okay.
and it was a panel of women and it was all about women in sales. And every single one of us said, I never thought I was going to be in sales. So I literally fell into it. A good buddy of mine, Mark Gamasmer, who I'm actually still friends with to this day, he's the Chief Revenue Officer over at Exactly right now.
Nice.
He said, hey, Amyra, I got this sales job. Come interview with my boss. He's like, you'll make a ton of money and, you'll be able to sell ice cubes to Eskimos by the end of it. And I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. He's like, it's a fun place to work. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I got some great sales training. And I think that's kind of what set me up for success. I don't think I'm actually a natural salesperson, but I've done a really good job learning to use my left hand.
Absolutely.
Right? Learning to be able to kind of adapt and have those difficult conversations. And it's just been, and no matter what you do in life, you have to sell. So but I just fell into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, same here. The reason I asked that question, because I have not heard one person who's like, yep, I was growing up, but I knew I was going to be in sales. I've not heard that answer yet. I'm looking for that answer. Someone's like, yep, I came out the womb and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be sales all my life. I was like, no one said that yet. So it's always
You know what I wonder, because there are so many more programs now at colleges
Absolutely.
that are all around sales and marketing. I wonder if we'll start to see that more with this next generation of graduates, but I think even then it's still interesting. I haven't met anyone that said, yes, this is my lifelong dream.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but you are right with new programs that are coming out that probably will start being like, yeah, I actually want to do this out of college. So that's a good thing. So let's talk about this. So let's say, hey, I'm an SDR today. I'm trying to figure it out. This is my first job out of college. but I want to be a VP of sales. I want to be SVP of sales. What are the things I need to start doing, like as soon as I enter my job, to start being recognized as a future leader in my organization?
I think, and I would hope that no matter what leader you speak with or anybody, you know, my dad always said, you know, you got to do your job well, and then you got to start doing the job that you want.
Right.
While not letting the job that you're doing slip. So for me, like number one is you got to be good at what you do. You have to set the tone. You have to be number 1, 2, or 3 on the team. And so that's of course number one, like do your job really well. I've always said that like when you take on those stretch assignments, and this is if you're wanting to be a VP of sales, right? No matter what job you want, if you want to take a stretch assignment, take a stretch assignment that will help you get closer to the job you want, right? As you get better at your job, let's say you've been an SDR for a year, you've got it down. Like you should have some extra time in the day to not only overachieve, but also take on those assignments. So if you're wanting to go like the leadership path, start playing around with your cadences, start doing some A/B testing yourself, and then going to your leader and saying, look, I ran this experiment. Here's what it looked like. Here are the results I got. Maybe we can implement this to everybody. Because I think as you're making that shift from individual contributor into leadership, all of a sudden it's not about how do you personally excel, but how do you help those around you excel as well, and start sharing those key learnings. So for me, like part of leadership is not about me being great. It's about making everybody around me like rise to the occasion. And as you're looking into leadership roles, I think that's how you do it. That's how you differentiate yourself, is you say, I'm not only exceeding myself, but I'm helping everybody else. I'm helping to raise the bar for everybody on my team.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So how can someone, like it's a mindset thing, right? Because you said, hey, showcase something that you can show to a leader to be great and then move on to the next position. But how does someone get over that fact of like, I'm intimidated by my VP of sales. I just got here, or I've only been here for like 6 months. They don't know who I am. Like, how do you bring a plan together and then showcase them? Or is it just the act of doing it that's going to showcase that you have potential in the future?
I think it's having the conversations and talking to your leader about how, because the things that you should be doing should actually be getting you better at your own job, right? So it's like, hey, I'd like to try this out. I want to try out a couple of different things and then see if we can maybe roll that out to the rest of the team. Do you have any things going on right now? Any questions that you have? Any segments that you want to go after that maybe I could help you test out? Because I think there's a way, you know, from a leadership perspective, I have my own objectives. So if I have somebody on my team that's anxious to help me try those out or to help me figure out how we as a team are more successful, I'm going to like take that person and say, yes, let's run with this together. And what's nice is you actually get more exposure to the person that you're working with and your leadership team. So I think if you can create a solution that's a win-win, and this is how we sell, by the way, like let's create a win-win solution. Let me help you identify a pain, figure out how we can solve it together, and I can actually help make all of us better at the end. Like that's the heart of sales. And I think if you can leverage that in your career and your career progression, like you're ahead of the game.
Absolutely. No, and that's a great point. And so let's say, okay, you're putting that stuff out there, sharing it with leaders. What's also like another good way? Like I'll give you an example. Like when I first joined an SDR, like I didn't know anything at all. It's my first job, but I met with the CEO, I met with the CMO, I even met with the CTO, because I had to understand what the heck are we selling and like why does this even matter? Like there's tons of companies I could have joined. So kind of give advice on that, on how people can start stepping up and having those, that maybe so you don't have something to present, but just having conversations with your leaders and things of that nature and how to approach that.
Oh yeah. I definitely think it's about like put yourself out there, ask the tough questions, and basically start applying for the job before it's out. Like let people know you're interested for sure. Before I post a job, like I want my SDRs talking to me about the fact that they're interested in a sales role. I think there's a balance. You have to talk to your manager before you start just going out and like share your interest with your manager. Have them help pave the way for you. Right, they're going to be your best champion.
Absolutely.
So don't like exile your champion by any means. Make sure that they're on board with you. But reach out. Let them know who in the organization you're going to be reaching out to. See if they can help make the introductions if you're at a really big organization. I love that idea because you actually learn more. And just make sure you're really clear about the agenda that you're going to have when you meet with those leaders. Their time is incredibly valuable, and you want to make sure it's useful to them. Maybe you can share some information with them about what's going on down at the ranks level,
Right.
Because that's also helpful. So if you can make it be a really good mutual exchange of information, I think that's great. And I love it when people come to me and set up meetings with me and are looking to show interest in the sales team and just learn more.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I think people really need to pay attention to that is, hey, you can learn more. You're going to get access to people. And then also you come up in conversations when they're like, oh, we're looking to promote someone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, so-and-so I've talked to them before. Like I'm confident in them and things of that nature. Cause I think talk about how it's not just about the numbers. Like talk about that a little bit, how like, obviously you're an executive and you're looking to promote managers, you're looking to promote reps, and obviously you have to clear that. So what are the things that you're looking at when you're promoting someone from an IC role?
Table stakes, but I think what's even more important is that desire to help everybody else on the team achieve, right? And whether that's through setting up group events or coming up with ideas for spiffs or for contests, or like really getting people motivated and kind of being that person that helps drive people at the end of the quarter. All of those things are so important, because that's also like getting everybody, like the rising tide floats all boats. Like, and if you can be that rising tide, like that's huge. That's what leadership is all about. It's inspiring people to do their best and to kind of tap into something that they didn't even know they have. And if you can be one of those catalysts, I think that's so, like that's what I look for. I also look for people that are really in tune with what their numbers are and what actually motivates others on the team. So if you can actually help your leaders identify those things, that's really helpful.
Is that during one-on-ones, or is those side off conversations like a rep's like you see a rep, hey, and I posted this as a comment the other day. Someone was like, how do you build like a strong sales culture so that it continuously grows? And I was like, well, you got to make sure your A players are continuously helping and you're not asking them to help. So talk about that. Is that something that obviously you're paying attention to be like, is this a leader or not? Because there are some people who are like, I want to be a leader, but they're not a good leader. They just have really good numbers.
Yeah, those two things are totally different. Like being a good salesperson is not equivalent to being a good leader. It just means you're really good at your job. You're really good at being in sales. And so I think there is something to be said. And you know what? And being really good at your job isn't a bad thing. Like I think as a leader, every one of us is responsible for creating different career paths and different career tracks. Right? Like there shouldn't just be upward mobility. There should also be the ability to make more money in the job that you're doing, whether or not, so there should be really clear promotion paths within the role as well as up, right? From a management perspective.
Right.
So I think as leaders, if we're doing a good job, we're creating both of those paths for people. Because like you said, the good salesperson, like for some people out there, it's just instinctual. Like they are just so good at their job. But that doesn't mean, and they know what to do on a sales call, but that doesn't mean that they're good at teaching it.
Absolutely.
Or that they're good at helping other people understand how to tap into that. So I think those are two very different skill sets. So I think really understanding and having those discussions with your leaders about what it is you're really interested in. Like some people enjoy going after the sale and closing them and those quick wins and those like, oh yeah, it's all about me. Like if that's what you like, that's not bad, but understand what it is that drives you individually. Because going into leadership, it's not about your individual wins anymore. And you don't get a lot of feedback as a leader. You don't get those wins because every sale you close is a win for you. It actually becomes much different. That feedback that you get, it changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So even looking back at what you just said, it's the reps paying attention. You talked about understanding, hey, maybe things you're presenting to leadership. Let's talk about like diving deeper than that, because then obviously there's the numbers, but then obviously to get to those numbers, there's data. So how important is data for the rep to understand as they move into leadership?
I will tell you, so here's a hint. If you are ever interviewing with me, know your numbers.
Right.
Know them like the back of your hand. Know how many leads it takes to close how many deals, how many calls do you do, how many demos do you have. I want to know that you know the science behind what it takes to be successful. Because if you know that, then you can communicate that, right? And then you know what to do. You know the basics, you know the ingredients, right? There's always a little bit of magic in there, but you know the ingredients.
Right.
So if you don't know your ingredients, how are you going to teach someone else the ingredients. So for me, numbers are everything. And as a leader, I'd love to say, oh, you know what, I really feel like this would work. But at the end of the day, I need to measure how it works. If I want to, when you're like in a leadership role, as you want to move into management and into VP level, understanding the numbers is mission critical. And it starts with understanding your own, and then understanding the teams, and then understanding the organizations, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And you have to be able to measure success and failure. Because if you can't measure failure, then you don't know how to make it work.
Exactly.
So it's all about the numbers. And I think in sales, we're taught that. And I think as you move up in leadership, it becomes more and more important. And that is literally how you differentiate yourself as a leader. Because if you can, like, if you're a manager and you're really good at the feel good and all of that, which I think is so important, there comes a point in time where you need to deliver from a numbers standpoint. And that becomes more and more important as you move up into the director and VP level.
Absolutely. And I want to reinforce Amyra's point here, because my thing was, I'm the rah, let's get fired up leader. Like, that's how I was, like, yo, everyone, let's get fired up. And everyone, would do their things. But me looking at data, like, I personally don't like doing that. And also I wasn't good at it. But I had my other friend who was a manager, amazing at like data and stuff like that, but wasn't as like, yo, let's get it as me. So obviously we played a good tandem there. But you have to realize that, like, obviously there's strengths and weaknesses, but even if you don't like it, you do have to understand the data, because even now in my role today, if I'm like, John, like, this is how I'm going to get this, and I don't have any data to back it up, and I don't tell him how I'm going to get there, it's just an arbitrary number. That's not structured. You're just giving me a random number. Like, how are you going to do that? Or how are you even getting to that? So I think that's really important, what she's saying right there, because you have to understand how to map to or map from where you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and for some people, it is like using your left hand. I'm right-handed, so using my left hand is uncomfortable. But you at least need to have a basic understanding or comprehension of the data and the numbers and how to use them, and how to use them to fight your battle.
Yeah.
And how to prove that this is something that we should invest in. And to your point, the beauty of like the magic of leadership is hiring people that make up for your weaknesses, right? Like, Morgan, if you're really good at the rah, which I think I am as well, but like, you're really good at it, so you're going to hire somebody that is wicked good at Excel and data analysis, and that's going to be your right-hand person, and you're going to depend on them, and you two are going to make them, like, that's going to be like a magical sales leadership team, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You hire people, you surround yourself with people. We aren't all good at everything, and you surround yourself with the right people, and you can have an amazing team, right? We don't all have to be good at everything. So you leverage your strengths, and then surround yourself with people that can help make your team even stronger.
Absolutely. And that's a really great point again. And that's something as an SDR you should start focusing on, is like, hey, what are my strengths and weaknesses? I always told every single rep, like, what do you feel like you're good at when it comes to outreach? So there's 4 main methods, right? There's the phone, there's email, there's video, and there's social. So which one do you feel like you're good at? And then most reps would be like, I'm really good at the phone, right? And then they would make less phone calls. And so I had a rep, I was like, look, just make these amount of phone calls this week, and I guarantee you'll get this many meetings. He did it. He was like, wow. I was like, yeah, you're good at the phone, but you're not doing anything, and you're getting upset that you're not hitting your number, and you're just not picking up the phone. So like, anytime it's like, yo, you're low, it's like, have you picked up the phone? No, it's like, that's why you're struggling. So that's a really great point on that. And even we just brought on someone who's our CRO, and he's like the complete, he's not the opposite of me, but he complements what I do. So like, I can present, I have a lot of energy, my idea, I'm very sporadic, and I can like boom, 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 but there's structure there sometimes can be off because I'm going so fast in my head. So he slows it down. I'm like, okay, like, what exactly are you saying here? And then in my head, I know what I'm saying. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is what's going on. And he's like, boom. Okay. So now we just need to tighten that up. So it makes my process a lot simpler, because in my head, I know what to do. But when someone strangles it and then like puts it in a process, that makes it even better for me, because now I can talk to that process and also have something to look back into. So yeah, as a rep, you need to understand your strengths so then you can find those compliments.
Yeah, I think what's interesting there too, I think it speaks to how important it is to have diversity of thought in a team.
Right.
Because oftentimes we're so we hire people that sound like us and possibly that look like us and all of this, and I think that's actually the worst decision you can make. Because you do need that diversity of thought, because different people are going to bring different skills to the table. And I think it becomes more and more important as you move into leadership. And I think what you'll notice is a lot of executive teams out there are very analytical,
Right.
and they're if you look at the DISC assessment, a lot of them are drivers and analyticals. So they're very high on the task, but not necessarily very high on the people orientation. And so that's why it becomes more and more important to have those analytical skills, or be able to have a base understanding of them, because those are the people you're likely going to be interacting with on an executive team.
Right. Exactly. No, I think that's,
you need to speak their language.
Yeah, you have to. I have to. And that's one thing that I've been learning, especially from like a prospecting standpoint. And you probably may run into this when you talk to SDRs or maybe even intro level AEs, is a lot of people want to stray away from the executive conversation. They're like, oh, I'd rather reach out to the manager, or maybe like senior manager, director, but I don't want to talk to the CEO or the CRO or the CTO, right? Or whoever, the VP. Like, I don't want to talk to those people. And I think you have to have a mindset, like you have to understand the language, because you're afraid to have that conversation because you actually just don't know what you're saying. But if you found out the right information, you can. And that was one thing kind of in my career, is I always went like, oh, I'm gonna go after the bottom of the power line. But now it's like, I only want to talk to people who actually are going to make decisions. And the only way you're going to get better is to talk to those people so you can have the same mindset.
Yeah. And if you can have a message like that resonates, because at an executive level, like my problems, like they're big problems. Like I know exactly what I need to solve. And if you can find something that's going to solve that, I literally had somebody, I don't answer a lot of cold calls, but for whatever reason, this person got through to me and I said, yes, I'll set up a call. Literally, like, mind blown, was almost crying on the demo because I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna change my life.
Yeah.
Like, if you can do that, and I mean, like, that SDR, like, I want to reach out to them and I want to like say, you are the best SDR that has ever reached out to me. And that salesperson is kicking butt right now, because they're literally tapping into, like, their discovery was incredible and they are just hitting like every nerve possible.
Right.
To make my pain so much more painful and like resonating, like letting me know that I have to solve this problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we're all trying to strive to do, right? Every single time, which is obviously it's a hard thing, right? But it's one of those things that we have to have that process in. And you mentioned this earlier when we had a conversation, which is A/B testing. So like, how does a rep get into that? Like, how do you A/B test? What is your process? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I will give you like a really simple example, because I don't necessarily have the process like laid out specifically, but I'll give you an example. Let's say I am doing a campaign to HR representatives and I want to test out 2 different subject lines. So this is as simple as it gets. So I have one subject line that uses their name, one subject line that doesn't use their name. This is very simple.
Right.
And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the test in parallel. And I'm going to get a list of, I'm going to randomly select 200 different names. I'm going to run 100 to one that uses their name, 100 to one that uses subject line B, for example. And then I'm going to come back, I'm going to test those out, and I'm going to see what my response rates are. Then I can report back on those response rates to see from who clicked on it, who opened up my call to action, and who responded, right? So I might have 3 different ways that people can respond, and I'll get an overall and then over time, I can find out of those, which ones did I win, right? So you want to have some type of control in terms of like, what are some, like, I want to definitely reach out to this size company in this particular region at this specific time. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to compare what my open, click through, and win rates were.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good breakdown. And then I want to go back, because you mentioned the pain thing. How does rep make sure that they're hitting pain points, right? Like, what if I can't find anything about the person? I can't find anything on the company. Does it come down to understanding just your priorities as a whole and then mapping messages to that? Or like, how personal does someone need to be to really get a meeting with you, right? The discovery is completely different, but to get a meeting.
Yeah, I don't even know how this person got a meeting with me. I'll be totally honest. Like, my mind is blown how this thing even started. Like, I must have momentarily lost my mind, but thank goodness I did. They knew. I think it's important. Like, you have to understand, like, if nothing else, like, let's say you're selling marketing software, hypothetically, like, meet with your chief marketing officer, meet with everybody on your marketing team. Find out what is their challenge. Find out in past jobs what they were challenged with when they weren't using their marketing software, right? So, like, I think that situational fluency is so important, because at an executive level, I want to know that I'm talking to somebody who actually understands what my pains are.
Right.
I think if you follow me on LinkedIn, you would know that diversity and inclusion is something that's really important to me. So maybe you can speak on that. I think there are things that you can catch on to that if you're reading between the lines of what I'm posting or what I'm doing on social media or what our company is blogging about, you'll actually be able to tie that into your messaging and the conversation that we're having. So I think personalization is really important. And I don't know if that sounds really old school to me, but I can pull out 75 emails from the last 3 days of people trying to get in touch with me.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's one of the hardest things to get in front of, obviously, someone nowadays, because there's so much noise. And even if you have a really good message, it sometimes may not go through because everyone else has that bad message. So you just make it miss. But it's just all about telling the story, being prevalent, being, everywhere that you can be there, social, phone, video, email, things of that nature. So that you bring up a very, very good point.
And leveraging your contacts, honestly. Leveraging the people that you know and having them say, hey, I'd really like to introduce you to Morgan. He was talking the other day about this thing. And just leverage people if you know them. And I think when you're just starting out as an SDR, it's hard because your network isn't very big. And so, Morgan, you look at what you have done and it is mind blowing. I think I was I was grilling you on it the other day. I'm like, how do you do all of this?
Oh, yeah.
But it's probably been such you're doing these things because it's important for you to let people know about how to be a better SDR and how to really grow and excel in your career. This is a passion of yours, but there are all these benefits that have come with it because you've done it so sincerely and from the heart. There's no other intention other than to do this good thing.
Right.
But there have been all of these benefits that have come to you. So I think as an SDR, go to different chapter meetings around sales, start to get to know people and do it from a place that you don't want to sell. Do it from a place where you just want to expand your network and learn from people. And I think if you do that, the results will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you bring up a lot of great points there. And, because this kind of sums it all up, the last question I always ask everybody that comes on the show is, what is that number one piece of advice for that SDR BDR that is entering into that new role?
This is a little mushy, but I would say, be genuinely curious about your company, about your product, and most importantly, about your customers and what they do and how they do it. I think I have learned more from my customers throughout my career than I've learned from almost anyone else. They've taught me how to do my job better. They've taught me how to speak with them and how to understand their pains and their processes. And that's not something that comes naturally. If you've never been in doing their job, you need to then truly be curious about how it is they do it and what the challenges are. And then if you can speak to that sincerely, I think you're one step ahead of the game.
Awesome. Well, Amyra, thank you so much for hopping on the SDR Chronicles today. Before we go, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything that you're excited about, want to promote, anything of that nature while we're here?
Oh my gosh. There's been a ton of stuff about diversity and inclusion. I say, look at your teams. If you look at your job descriptions out there, if you're hiring people, the more diverse your team, the better. So look at your job descriptions and make sure they're not turning anybody off in the process. Make sure you're removing all of those hugely gender specific terms. Get them out of there. Take a look at your website. If your website doesn't look diverse, then you're going to be attracting a certain kind of candidate. So get out there, add pictures of men and women and people of different color and different, you name it, different religious backgrounds, different sexual orientations. I think diversity is just so beautiful. So I say, if you're a leader out there or you're an SDR looking for an organization, the more diverse, the better. That's what I would say. So that's my plug. I'm on this big initiative right now to just make sure we're making our teams more beautiful.
Awesome. No, I love it. And I'm in the same boat. So I'm glad that we're on the same wavelength. And again, appreciate it so much for you hopping on the SDR Chronicles. They have a ton of insights. And as I always say, guys, keep dialing and I'll see you guys soon.